Yeah, let's do this, boys. It's the match 5, Brooks versus Bryson. It's beefcake time.
Oh,
And I heard there were some beefcakes going to be on my TV screen on Friday after Thanksgiving. So I
my
thought, you
God.
know what? What better way to do this podcast than in my full beefcake attire? So I'm here and I'm ready to rock and roll, Pat.
I did not need this to
Excited
happen.
for tonight's show. It's going to be great.
No.
It's going to be great.
Yeah. I'm already a little bit triggered
Oh,
by
yeah?
this.
Already?
Yeah.
Well, hopefully Covers doesn't mind. The match preview between Brooks and Bryson here on the Tour Junkies podcast, presented to you by our friends at Covers. Winning starts at Covers. Hang on. So they've been doing it a long time, man. I mean, for 25 years, Covers has been in the game. They've served over 20 million sports bettors annually, and over 500,000 members participate in the Covers Forum. They got you covered. All right, dog? You want to bet on the NFL? You want to bet on hockey, NBA? You could do that. You want to bet on golf, the match? Covers can help you out with content, all the best odds, all that stuff, and it's free to join. You don't have to commit anything. So winning starts at Covers. They are the title sponsor for our betting shows week in and week out. They've always supported us throughout this PGA Tour season, and we're ready. We're excited to keep it going into 2022. So check out covers.com. Winning starts at Covers. It is the match, Pat. And I thought we were done with podcast for the year, but
Hence maybe why you're shirtless.
I'm shirtless. I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready.
Yeah.
It was just,
Is it not chilly where you are? I mean, we've had a
it's
little bit of a cold front coming through.
67 right here in the bonus room, but that's perfect, man. I'm hot natured, baby. I run hot.
Yeah. Well,
This is going to be a pretty laid back show, pretty quick, But Pat, I mean, what are we going to do? What are we going to do with Brooks and Bryson this week? They're playing at the Wynn. We're not going to really get into a big course breakdown. It's the Wynn Golf Course, built in 05, Tom Fazio design, right there on the Vegas Strip. I'm sure it'll be beautiful. I'm sure it'll be mint.
yeah.
I'm sure there'll be some great, views. There's a waterfall that you can drive. I think you drive under it or something at some point.
Yeah. I heard there's some windows in there or
Some
something.
windows. You want to do a little peep
Yeah.
at Tommen out the window.
Yeah. There's a Ferris wheel in the background on some hole. There's a rumor that there's a clown's mouth somewhere on this golf course that you got to hit it through, but
yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if that's true. I could be wrong. But I do know there's Ferris wheels, waterfalls, and of the like, and things like that. And you're right off the strip. It's like the only golf course that's right there, like literally on the strip. But you got trees and stuff.
There's some trees, couple trees, some pine needles, But at the end of the day, who cares? Who cares what the golf course is like? When it comes to handicapping this thing, there's a lot that goes into it outside of what the golf course, is gonna be. First of all, let me tell you when it's happening. It's happening Friday after Thanksgiving. This coming Friday, 4 p.m. Eastern on TNT. And there's other ways you can stream it or whatever, but it's going to be a 4 p.m. Eastern TNT. Check it out. You'll be recovered from your turkey coma. You'll be footballed out on Thursday.
Yeah.
And here's the thing though. Here's the thing about the match. I saw this on Twitter today. There's plenty of people, golf people, saying, oh, this is so stupid. Am I watching this? Hell no. I'm not watching this. The fact is, yes, you are. You're going to watch it. What option do you, if you are indoors at that time? Now, maybe you live in a place like here, you could go play golf. Maybe you're outdoors with your family doing outdoor stuff, doing stuff under the sun or outside of an indoor place. You're doing something. And that I get. But let's be honest, damn well that if you're at home and you're sitting in front of the TV with a family member you don't want to talk to, you're watching the match. I know it's cool. It's kind of cool to bash it and be like, this is stupid. It's all manufactured and dumb. That's the cool thing to do. And is it manufactured? Yes, I think it is.
I don't think they're hiding that.
No. But at the end of the day, it's a cool course. It's something that we don't get to see very often. It's Brooks and Bryson, both needle movers, you're watching it to maybe feel awkward. Maybe you want to feel awkward. Maybe your family's not in town, or it's been a great couple days with your family. You haven't had an awkward family moment yet, and you're like, you know what? It's not Thanksgiving if I don't feel awkward about something. If I don't feel a little weird, So let me turn on Bryson and feel weird because his ass gonna make you feel awkward. So don't give me this. I'm not gonna watch. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. If you're sitting inside now, if you find something better to do, I get it. But I think people are gonna watch it. I'm gonna watch it. If I'm sitting at the house, I'm gonna watch it.
You mean to tell me if you're being dragged around shopping on Black Friday with your wife and you're sitting on a bench outside the store that she's in that you don't care to be in, that you're not just going to pull it up on your phone and be like, let me go check out what's happening. You're going to do that.
Yeah.
You're going to. Don't tell me that. Like, you're right. People just think it's cool to say, this is stupid.
You shop in the sale rack at Belk's? No. No. If your wife's doing that, you're sitting on one of the little benches and you're streaming it. You're doing something. Or maybe you're on TikTok. Maybe you're doing something different.
I agree though. If you got something better to do, that's fine. You're gonna do what you do on Friday after Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
But look, it's something to watch. There should be some entertainment, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
You got Phil Mickelson commentating.
Weird. Yes, Phil and Charles. That will be worth it.
That's worth it right there. We get some, Phil's probably gonna be saying some shit about him.
Yeah. He's gonna be egging them on for sure.
It's gonna be, it's going to be worth watching at least a little bit of it. These things are awkward, like you said, but whatever. Let's have fun with it. By the way, it's only 12 holes. So that's important. Not 18 holes. They're only playing 12, which I think is better. I think it means they're going to get to pick the best holes on the course, which I've heard what the routing is. I don't.
Oh, you did hear what the routing? I searched just before this. I couldn't find it.
I saw a report of what the routing was, but I already see a hole in what the report was because the report says 16, 3, 12, 13, 11, 5, 14, 9, 7, 8, 18, 17. I think that's wrong because 18 is actually the hole they're going to finish on, which is a par 3. It's going to play 220 yards. That's the one with the waterfall. 18 is the par 3 with the waterfall. You don't see many courses that end in a par 3, but this one does. They can play it as long as 250, but I've heard it's going to be playing at 220. So it's a weird course, though. You got 6 par 3s and 4 par 5s, which is fun to me. You got some really short par 3s out here. You got some longer par 3s, some really long par 5s, or a couple long par 5s and some easy ones. So I don't know. I could be wrong on the routing, but that's just what I read.
Yeah. Well, it'll be interesting. Who knows? There's not. I've searched far and wide to try to find the routing, and it's hard to do. But I just don't think it matters that much anyway. And when it comes to handicapping this, by the way, for the 6 of you watching live and you're wondering what's happening, I opened the show by saying this is a beefcake special on a Friday after Thanksgiving with Brooks and Bryson, just two white male beefcakes showing down. And so I figured, why not do the show? I feel like I'm kind of in that category, so I might as well do this. So I did.
I don't feel like anybody needs to see me shirtless, and so I didn't.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Good.
Not. I have some Bryson news.
Oh, do you?
Yeah. So this happened tonight.
Wow.
I am
on it tonight.
Yeah. So look, I heard through the grapevine. I'm on the group text in my neighborhood. A lot of guys, we all play golf together. Bryson was in town. He's playing at my course. I didn't get to see him. But he did play out there literally a couple days ago. He played 2 days out there, practice out there.
Deer Creek in Savannah, huh?
Yeah, Deer Creek in Savannah. So I'm at the grocery store tonight, which I'm pretty much there every night.
Yeah, every night you're.
And I run into our head pro.
Okay.
Now, he says, look, I got to talk to you about Bryson when you have some time. I'm like, yeah, I want to have a beer. I want to hear what you got to say. Of course, he was like all into it. He's like, his thought process is amazing and all this kind of stuff. But he did say he got to see him pound 1,000 balls. He took all kinds of video, said he was, just on point, like calling his shot, be like, I'm going to hit this 5-yard draw, 5-yard cut, do all this kind of stuff. Of course, he was hitting bombs and talking about how great he is and things like that. But he did say that he was hitting the ball very well. And, he just kind of got hooked up with the club to play. And one of the things I thought was funny that he was talking about was that, our pro is like, why are you out here? Because he was just in town visiting a friend who's in the Army and who's stationed here. That was all he was in town for.
Huh. And of course, is that Fort Stewart?
I think it's Fort Stewart. Yeah.
Last time I was there, man, they had 50 cent bowling. 50 cent to bowl at Fort Stewart.
Anyway, so he really was just visiting a friend and wanted to know where he could go practice, talk to a Callaway rep or something like that. They sent him and they said, "Hey, you want Deer Creek? You want to go out there?" And he said, "Sure."
Huh.
He played a couple other courses too, but he told our pro, that he doesn't take a day off. He said, "I can't take a day off
Oh, yeah.
in golf."
Oh,
Like,
we know Bryson.
if
Tell us about it.
he talked about how he's building on his process every single day.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
no days off
No
for
days off.
Bryson. No days off for Bryson.
Do
So I
you
thought,
remember back in the 90s, the popular it was a clothing brand, and, like, people would put the stickers on their car, and normally the ones that did were total twat muffins. Remember No Fear stickers?
yeah, I do remember.
Bryson would totally have a No Fear. He wouldn't just have the little small No Fear sticker in the bottom left corner of the window. He would have the full one, the full width of the back
Yeah,
glass with, like, and remember how it had the eyes? It had the
yeah,
little eyes and it said No Fear. Bryson's one of those guys. No
yeah,
days off, no fear, hustle and grind and hustle.
yeah.
You
I mean,
know,
he can't build on yesterday's work if he's not working today. So and the next
yeah,
day and the next day. So no days off. So he
yeah,
had to come to Deer Creek in Savannah while he's just visiting a friend, hanging out,
dang.
and that's what he did.
You
So
can't even visit a friend without doing some work.
no,
It'll be interesting. I do wanna talk about kind of, some of the vibe that we could see, things we will see, things we won't see. But I actually, Pat, wanna skip right into whatever we're gonna bet on this thing
okay,
because what I remember, I remember the days of the Tiger Phil match, which was the first Capital One match, and there was a ton of props. I mean, and part of that was probably because Tiger and Phil were playing in it. Obviously, they moved the needle. And I remember you and I cleaned house on some prop bets that
mm,
week. We did a show about it. It was great. And I'm kind of hoping to see the same thing here. Now we're recording this on Tuesday night. Tuesday night at 9:45 p.m. Eastern. The offerings are pretty slim to none here in terms of props. Maybe it'll open up. If it does, oh well, we missed the boat. We tried to delay this recording long enough. But for now, Pat, let's talk about some of the bets that we're seeing. Most of them are all the same everywhere you look. So I'm looking on DraftKings Sportsbook right now. Let's just talk straight up. Who's going to win this thing? 12-hole match. Bryson is a heavy favorite at the moment at -125. Brooks is at +105 on DraftKings. I believe when the line originally opened, it was a little tighter than that. But I think the bets have been firing away at Bryson, and he's now decent favorite on old Brooks. Maybe it's due to the poor form that we've seen out of Brooks in this fall season. And I just faded him 2 weeks ago, and told everybody I don't care that he had input on the course. He's not interested, and he's not playing well, and he's not. He really hasn't played great since the Open. So maybe it's kind of the devil we don't know, which is like, well, we haven't seen Bryson play since really the Ryder Cup. So what's he doing? Although he's on social media all the time, bashing balls at Top Golf over the net. Like, I don't know that really counts. But as you like to say, or as you're telling us, he actually is grinding away at a place like the Landings. So maybe it's that people just feel like Brooks is a little broken at the moment in terms of his game, and Bryson is the head and shoulders favorite. What do you think?
well, I think should be the favorite, and I think that to me, I think a lot, on this show, we typically tend to avoid a minus number, like in a match type
Yeah.
deal. We always like
Oh,
a plus number.
yeah.
But to me, there's not enough value in the plus number on Brooks. And I just think outright Bryson is going to win this match. And so I'm going Bryson. I mean, I'll cut straight to the chase. Bryson is going to be my bet. If I'm betting this outright, he's at -125. I don't care about that number. I just don't see enough value in Brooks. I don't see where the play is. I don't see I think there's a lot of motivation as far as the narrative here. Certainly Brooks has no motivation to win, but I really don't think he cares that much either way. I mean, it's just a thing for him. And I think Bryson does care. I think, the course is one that if he does start to spray it off the tee could be a little more difficult for Bryson, but I haven't seen that out of him lately. He's been playing better. I mean, I just mentioned the fact that he's obviously grinding every single day on his game. I don't see any reason to bet against Bryson in this thing, and so I will be on that number at -125.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm definitely attracted to the plus number. I mean, it's no doubt I enjoy a nice plus number on a matchup, especially with somebody as talented as Brooks Koepka. But I think I side with you, and probably a lot of other people that are talking about this. That if it comes down to who do we think wants it more and will care more, it will be Bryson. Um, it just will be. Maybe I see a scenario where if Brooks finds himself in an early lead, if he goes up a couple holes, maybe he goes up 2 holes, that which is, a lot when it's only 12, right? Things move quickly. This thing could be over very quickly. I do think if Brooks jumps out to a lead, I think he dials it in. But if it's kind of cruising or he falls 1 hole, it's probably like, what the hell ever. Like, let's just go. Let's do this, do our thing and get out of here. Um, so I think he would obviously wants to win, but I just don't know that he cares that much either. And that's probably what it all boils down to is who's going to give a damn. And I just feel like Bryson probably is going to give more of a damn. And he's also played in one of these, which I mean, obviously that doesn't really matter that much, but in terms of all the hoopla around you and that, and all the, the 5011 golf carts with camera crews and mics everywhere and everything you're saying being, conjured up and recorded and all that stuff. Like, I mean, I'm sure Brooks doesn't love that stuff anyway. I feel like Bryson does. I mean, that's basically what he has at his house. He's got all the little like high schoolers that follow him around his house and record everything he says and does. It'll feel like home for him. So I think it's gonna be the Bryson show. As much as I hope Brooks wipes the floor with him.
Oh yeah,
I hope it's not even close. I hope Brooks embarrasses him, honestly, and that'll be great. But I don't. If I'm putting my money where my mouth is, that's what it is. It's the -125 on Bryson. Now,
yeah.
if Brooks gets up to like +120 or something, which I don't think would happen, like that could be interesting. Other than that, like there's these hole 1 winner bets, which, I know the hole number 3 is going to be a closest to the pin par 4 sponsored by DraftKings. So they're obviously, just like we've seen in these matches, they want the guys to hit driver. It's going to be closest to the pin on this par 4. I mean, they both hit it plenty long, and I'm sure Brooks is going to have another gear ready to go, but it's not the same gear that Bryson has. So that'll be an interesting hole. Hole 7 is a long drive challenge, so we'll kind of see the same thing. And hole 6, 9, and 11 are all par 3s where they're going to have closest to the hole challenges. And I mean, honestly, recent form, and even I believe for most of the PGA Tour season, Bryson would have, kind of takes the cake when it comes to iron play, strokes gained approach. If we get, I'm not going to get into the weeds with numbers and strokes gained data, but Bryson's irons were better most of the year, and were definitely better at the end of the year than Brooks. So, and long irons included. So I don't know if people want to tackle those. I'm not very interested in these hole 1, hole 3, winner bets. Are you?
I'm not, but I'll tell you 2 things that jumped out, or one thing that really jumped out at me. And I'm not exactly sure why. I have a inkling of why, but I don't know. But out of the 9 holes on like on DraftKings Sportsbook, so you could have different numbers because so all 9 holes. Let's just say at PointsBet, a tie was a minus number.
Mm-hmm.
But on DraftKings on their sportsbook, number 2 and number 5 are plus money to tie. Now, the odds are very good. You would think a lot of times that these guys would tie a hole.
Yeah.
So I think those are 2 numbers that you can hammer, and they're both par 3s. Number 2 is going to be like 190, 200-yard par 3, if I'm right on what I'm looking at. And then number 5 is going to be a short par 3, like 150 yards, which is just like a flip wedge for these guys. So I think that the chances of a tie, either way, regardless if I'm wrong on what holes those are going to be.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's interesting. That's a good sign by you.
to get plus money on those 2 holes, that might change, and I think it probably will. I'd go ahead and, get that number. For some reason, they've got it as a plus number on those 2 holes. Go ahead and take that. I like that. Other than that, it's really hard to predict, especially not knowing the exact routing for sure, what you can do on these holes. I think it'll be interesting to see if your book does get some live betting options, like if Brooks goes up, 1 or 2 up in the first 3 holes, and then you can get, Bryson at plus money.
Yeah.
Maybe you look at something like that. But outside of just looking at those number 2 and number 5 as ties plus 130, there's not a whole lot out here. I mean, unless you want to bet a hole in one, you got 35 to 1 odds on either player having a hole in one.
Those are terrible odds.
Terrible odds. A hole in one is like
awful odds.
Yeah. Now, unless it's going to be set up pretty easy, I think, on the par threes. But I still don't think that those are good enough odds.
I've seen plenty of YouTube videos with tour pros like having 500 balls to hit a hole in one, and it's the same shot for 5, and they don't do it. Like, there's just so much has to go right there. Like I said, I do think, though, you talk about live betting, which could be an option. I do think if Brooks gets if he smells blood a little bit, and if he like gets out there and he surprises himself that, oh God, I've got a little bit of game here, I could close this sucker out. I feel like he could step on the throat and go. Or if it's tied late in the match, if they're hole 10 and it's tied, I lean Brooks there as well, because I feel like Brooks, his demeanor will keep him level, and he'll be like, I got this far, let me step on this dude's throat and do this. Whereas Bryson might spaz out,
Yeah.
So I think live betting, I would look for that on Brooks, but anything short of that, I mean, if Brooks falls, a hole or two, I don't know. I just don't think he's going to care enough to like do his. Maybe I could be wrong. Totally could be wrong. Any other props? Or I'm looking here. The first one to take the lead is kind of not a bet I really could get down with. Definitely not a hole in one situation. You could pick leader after 3 holes, 6 holes, 9 holes. I just don't think that's who's going to win more of the par 3s, par 4s, and par 5s. I do think, Bryson, I think, like I just mentioned, has an edge in the par 3s. He's minus 120. Brooks is minus 110. So to win more par 3s, I could see Bryson having the advantage there. His irons were just better all year. And even as long as Brooks is, it wouldn't shock me if Bryson's hitting shorter clubs into some of the longer ones. And Brooks has been kind of bad, even very recently. We've seen him. So I could see that being a possible bet, the par 3 winners. Let me look at Brooks's. Brooks's strokes gained approach numbers have been really, really bad since the Open Championship.
The Open. They were pretty good before then.
They were good before that, and he played in 2, 4, 6, 7 events since the Open Championship. Only gained strokes with his irons one time, one event at the BMW. And he's almost lost 2 strokes in every single one of those. Like, it's been not great. So I do think the par 3 winners bet minus 120 on Bryson is an interesting one. Other than that, that's all I got.
Yeah, that's it. I'm tapped out. I've given so much information.
Yeah.
I got nothing else.
Yeah, I guess one other idea is you could parlay this with a little, if you wanted to get some longer odds. Maybe you take Bryson. Maybe you really feel like Bryson's going to win. You don't love the value on the minus 125. Do you parlay that, Pat? You got any football games? I hit a college football parlay this past weekend. I was at the Greenbrier and I hit I posted on Instagram beforehand, 3-way parlay, nailed it. So maybe I should give the bet here. The NFL just feels like it's like some of these games. I'm like, how are these teams beating these? Like, how is this happening?
Yeah, I don't think you can. I don't think you can use the NFL for a parlay. I would be looking at college football.
So anything catching your eye here? Let me see if I can. Like, I got a Bryson money line bet on my bet slip, and I want to see if I can find a good game here that I kind of like.
I'll tell you what I like.
Okay.
I think if you're going to parlay a Well, there's two. I'll give you two
Ooh, I
games
just
that I
found
think.
one I like too.
Two
Yeah.
games that I like.
Okay.
One is I think Ohio State is just absolutely rolling right now,
Yeah, they are.
and I don't believe that Michigan is. I think Michigan's a good
No.
team. I think they're a good team, but you're getting, I'm looking at -8 Ohio State. They are at Michigan, so maybe you give it a little advantage, but I don't think it's that much because I think Ohio State's just that much of a better team. So I like taking the point. I
Yeah.
like or get the points there or giving
Love
the
that
points
bet.
there with Ohio State. Also, Florida is favored over Florida State. Florida is there.
That
They
bet
just
that
lost their
that
coach.
game scares me. That game scares me.
It doesn't scare me. They've lost their coach. Florida State, I think, is at least trying to keep it together
Dude,
this
no.
year,
No.
and I think that Florida State's going to win that game outright
No.
in Gainesville.
That bet scares me to death. Florida State's terrible. Florida's terrible, and I think losing the coach can't be worse than keeping the coach. And if I don't know who the interim is, but if the interim is somebody these guys like sometimes we see teams get up for that.
I
They
don't know.
get up for wanting to play for that guy differently than they did the guy before.
I think
I would
Florida
not touch
State's
that
got
game.
way more to play for, and I think they're going to win that game outright.
What do we think? We're both UGA fans. What do we think about the Dogs? Will they cover 35 on Georgia Tech, who just got boat raced by Notre Dame?
I don't feel like they will, but
I think they could. I
they
think they
could.
will.
Every time I say they can't cover, they do.
Georgia's not really a cover. Like when it's like a big spread like that,
But they've
Georgia's not
covered a lot
cover
of big
team.
spreads this year. They've
I
covered
know.
a ton of them.
Historically, they're not. Okay.
Either way, I don't even want to touch that game. I don't bet Georgia games anyway, so I don't even want to talk about
Let me
it.
tell you two more games that I like. This has now turned into a football betting show. Let me tell you a couple bets I like. I love this bet here. Arkansas is minus 14.5 over Missouri. Arkansas just about beat Alabama.
Yeah, Missouri sucks.
Last week.
Don't
Missouri
let that Florida
awful.
win. Don't let that Florida win.
The Florida win is nothing. I mean, I think easily, and they're at Arkansas. It's like I think Arkansas easily clears 15 points, 15 points here to take care of the Missouri spread. If you parlay that, it's like plus with the Bryson win, it's like plus 240 something.
I will say this I remind the folks this about Missouri. They were without their quarterback, Connor Bazelak or whatever his name is, something Bazelak or something. I think I'm mixing up one of our Georgia punters with the quarterback, but it's something like that.
That's fine in terms of the Florida game, but
he was back for Florida. I just think he was not in the game against Georgia, and he was not in the game before that. I don't think, but he did play in the Florida game, and they beat Florida. So
yeah. All right. One last game that I like here is Cincinnati covering 14 points against East Carolina. I mean, East Carolina had battled Army, and our Army's not a bad team, but battled Army last weekend in a tight one. Cincinnati easily took care of SMU, who people were I was in the sports book pregame, and there were people firing on SMU, feeling like SMU could cover. Cincinnati's overrated. Cincinnati goes and does this thing. They got a lot more to play for as the number 4 team in the country at the moment, trying to get into that playoff, So I feel like that those are – now, if you parlay all three of those, Bryson, Arkansas, and Cincinnati is plus 556. So maybe you do something like that. Maybe you bet an NFL game on Thursday. Yeah. But maybe that's something to kind of keep it a little more interesting.
I think you're right. I like the idea of parlaying. If you hate just taking the minus number on Bryson, parlay it with a college football game. Another one, by the way, is Auburn, Alabama.
Yeah, what's that?
20-point spread. You get Auburn's at home. Alabama's been it's been dicey this year. I know they're good. All the talent in the world. Yeah. Bryce Young's incredible. But Auburn had to, they lost their quarterback. They've got this other guy playing right now. But that's always such a big rivalry game, and Auburn's at home. I don't know if Alabama's going to clip them by 20.
That might be a stay away game for me.
Okay. Anyway.
All right. Before we leave, I was thinking about this, Pat. I'm sure there's going to be a match 6. Okay. Who would you have? Would you change the format? What course would you go on? I thought about it a little bit today, and I thought, well, that you could do another one-on-one against a few guys. You could do the whole pro golfer versus celebrity or athlete pairing again. But I thought of something that we haven't seen yet, and I think it would be cool to pair up uh, tour pros and caddies and see some caddies play some golf. And I don't know that I would want. I think it could be interesting. Like, would I want the tour player and caddy combo that are normally out there every week together, or would I want them separate? Um, yeah, I think there could be some interesting things there. Like, obviously, I love Gino Benelli and Joel Damon and Aaron Fleener and JT Poston, and those guys are hilarious. I mean, no offense to those guys, but they're not going to sell any views to that. So, I don't think that would be worth it. But I think a couple of high profile. We talked to Ted Scott a few times at Champions Retreat. Ted Scott's now caddying for Scotty Scheffler, or some of these other player caddy combos that I think would be interesting to see. We don't get to hear or see the caddies a lot, and they got a lot of personality, and a lot of them have a lot of game. So, only thing I thought about was just like that would be kind of cool to see that.
I like that idea. I think
And if it was the same combo as regularly, like so, if it was Joel and Gino, so caddy and player, make them do alternate shot. You turn up the heat. There's a lot of pressure in alternate shot. And
see,
now
that would be fun if you
now
did
you turn up the
alternate
heat,
shot.
and
Yeah.
you got caddy and player like on the same level competing together. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I thought that would be kind of interesting.
I like that idea. I think that would be something that would be really cool. So you could have either like you're thinking either caddy versus player,
Mm-hmm.
their player
Mm-hmm.
would it be their so it'd be their player or the alternate shot.
Yeah, or you take two pros and caddy combinations and you flip them, right?
Yeah.
So like, I'm trying to think. All these guys are changing caddies now. So like, uh, you know, Michael Greller is going to play with JT, and Spieth's now going to play with, I guess, Bones. But you just could do something different like that. I
Yeah.
don't know. Like,
If
I just
you
think,
had caddy versus player, I think it would be cool to do on a like a really good par 3 course instead of because you take driver out of people's hands because
yeah,
driver is a big deal with these players. Like, isn't the Cradle course in Pinehurst, is
I
that a
think
par
so.
3
Yeah,
course?
yeah,
Like, that might be fun to do it at the Cradle or something like that if you were gonna do that. Now, if you're gonna do alternate shot, you could do it anywhere, with a player and a caddy. But, yeah, I think it'd be a good idea. These so many of these caddies have such personality
yeah,
that we don't really get to see it, and I think it'd be fun to watch. I agree.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's a funny comment. Taylor McCutcheon in the comments said he'd pay to hear Spieth tell Greller, "I'm not comfortable with that." So they're on the same team, and Spieth, yeah, like, yeah, or hear Greller like piss and moan at his ball or at a call like Spieth. I don't know. I think that could be fun. But all right, I think we spent plenty of time on the match. Hope you guys have a great Thanksgiving. Listen, we are thankful for you, the listener and the viewer. We're very thankful for you guys. I told Pat today, we have done 365 shows in the Tour Junkies history over 6 years. So this is 366. And it's been a fun ride. We're very grateful for everybody who listens and watches and takes part and helps us out, and helps us grow this thing. And we are truly grateful for you. You're probably not grateful for me doing this podcast without a shirt on, but
We'll be grateful when it's over.
yeah,
The viewers will that are viewing the show.
yes.
The listeners are lucky.
Yeah, the listeners are like,
the folks listening only have chosen wisely.
they're also, they should put odds up on will one of them take their shirt off. I could see Bryson like.
I mean,
flexing
did
on.
Rory start a whole thing with ripping his
He
shirt?
did.
That's a whole nother conversation. Go.
We need to talk to DraftKings about putting odds on that.
Yeah.
And listen, we're also thankful for Covers. So check out covers.com. It's the one-stop shop. If you're a bettor on any sport, check out covers.com. It's free. Like, it's tons of free content, a forum that you can participate in. And they've been doing it for a long time. So thank you guys. We appreciate it. May your screens be green, I guess. Parlay a little something. If you hit a bet, if you hit a parlay, tag us on social. Do something. That'd be cool. Thank you. See ya.